Welcome back, everyone, to its Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol only on the Blue Wire Hustle Network and the Last Call YouTube channel. Now, joining me here on location, he is getting ready for its major fight, July 10th, UFC 264. It's, unofficially, a lot of people say possibly the number one welterweight contendership. This may at least hope so. I give you once again, we're proud to have on the show the fifth level degree black belt in Kempo Karate, American kickboxing black belt, and one of the nicest people you'll probably ever meet in the sport. That says something here. I give you, it's the Wonder Boy himself. I give you Stephen Thompson. Stephen, let's start off here. It's you, Herbert. It's Gilbert Burns. You've gone full out here. I mean, I'm reading here. You bring in Ryan Hall. You're bringing in all these people here. How big is it for you in this fight to be able to keep this fight standing? Not let him take you down and start, attacking with leg locks, body triangles, and basically making it, a ugly fight for you.
Yeah, that's something that I'm used to. Since day one, stepping out in the octagon, is everybody trying to take me down, trying to submit me. So, that's something that I've been prepared for since I stepped in the UFC. Of course, Gilbert Burns is one of the best in the biz when it comes to jiu-jitsu and striking. I mean, he's been knocking dudes out. And, I'm prepared wherever the fight goes. I want to be prepared for it. And obviously my karate movement, I know he's bringing guys in to help him try and simulate that karate style, but it doesn't matter, man. I've fought guys very similar to his style. And, when it comes to wrestling and the striking, but I definitely believe I have the better striking. I think my takedown defense is one of the best in the division. So I'm confident that I can keep that fight standing for sure.
Does it help that you've seen him up close in terms of the Woodley fight? Because you and Woodley had fought a lot, so you got used to seeing Woodley go, okay, this is what Woodley does, this is what he is. I understand it. When you see a guy like Burns beat somebody that you studied for so long, does it help you just sort of get an idea of, okay, I know how he's going to attack. I know what he's going to try to do because we prepared for the same guy, so I can understand his mentality of, all right, how to approach somebody who is dangerous on his feet.
Well, the thing is, the Tyron Woodley that I faced and the Tyron Woodley that he faces were, I think, two completely different people. He was on, I think, a losing streak up to that point. And, it just wasn't the same guy. And you can kind of tell. I mean, the Tyron Woodley that I faced the first time at UFC 205 was just a motivated, hard-hitting mamma jamma. And, recently you really hadn't seen a whole lot from Tyron. Like, he just doesn't fight. So, I got to look at what I'm seeing, not just the Tyron fight, but the Gunnar Nelson fight, the Usman fight, are the really ones I'm looking at. And when I prepare for a guy, I look at their first fight all the way up to the most recent fight and see how much changes they've made to their game. Right. Of course, everybody knows that he's got the jiu-jitsu, but it's getting me down there is what's going to be difficult. Right. So I'm really focused on him. I got little things that I've been working on to prepare for that. So, obviously my wrestling defense is going to play a huge part in this game plan. So, and of course, keeping him at bay, using my distance, using that distance management to keep him away and, make it more difficult for him to get in on my legs. But like I said before, man, I got some of the best guys in the division in the MMA period coming in and helping me get ready for this fight. Am I a better jiu-jitsu guy than Gilbert Burns? I don't think I'll ever be a better jiu-jitsu, practitioner like him. But will he ever have the best striking as me? No. And that's where every fight starts, standing up. So yeah, man, the more and more I think about it, the more I study, the more I train, the more confident I am going into this fight.
Last question on this before you move on. And he started off, 6-3, and a lot of people are like, all right, well, he's just what he is. He has some power, but he's mostly a decision guy, a submission guy. You've seen him now grow with his last run, which was a 6-1, only lost to Kamaru Usman. From what you noticed, and as you said, you're a student of the game. What was it about him? What did he do that's made him a better striker? What is it that you see that you go, I might still be able to exploit this? I know you can't give away the full secrets, but what makes you confident that, when you're looking at this last run and you're going, okay, I could beat him. There's something about it. He still hasn't fixed this, or he still hasn't done this. I can still beat him.
You know, that's a mindset too that I have with everybody I face with. I know I can beat them. I know my striking is to the point to where whatever distance he's at, if it's inside, or if he's halfway across the cage, I know that I can him. I know I'm fast enough to cover the gap. I know my angles are going to play a huge part in this fight. And of course, watching him fight, he's got some good sparring partners. I mean, his best friend Vicente Luque is somebody I faced, and their styles are fairly similar. And you saw what I did to Vicente Luque. I know he's an intelligent guy. I know he's preparing for my style, but I'm fairly confident in stepping out there and knowing that I can hit this guy. Knowing that I can draw him out, knowing that I can hit him and exploit his openings and his style. I know I can do that. So, like you said, without giving too much stuff away, I'm definitely the better striker. I mean, when you're getting dropped with one of the, somebody who's not known for his striking, mostly for his wrestling with a jab, which is the very first technique you learn in the fight game. I mean, he's going to have a fairly difficult time with me.
Take me back to the Jeff Neal fight. I always thought this was, I think, in some ways, it's a very meaningful fight for you because you would come into that fight, lost 2, which you and I have talked about in nauseam there until, and I will still say you and your team should have filed a protest, gone to Dana White, slapped him around, said, yeah, I got screwed worse than basically the last presidential election, but a whole different story. This is a special fight because a lot of people said you were washed up. A lot of people said, oh, this is, he's no longer a top contender. What was it like for you going out there, dominating Jeff Neal, and literally making everybody go, okay, we're dead wrong. He still is a force in the welterweight division.
That was kind of like, I'm sitting there always talking about mindset, and that's a huge part of why I am what I am. I lose to Till. I lose the 2 Tyron fights. I beat George Masvidal. Then I lose Till. I get knocked out by Anthony Pettis. And you see a lot of people go through something like that and not come back. They break mentally or they lose something along the way. And I believe it's that fire that got them there in the first place. So you get a lot of guys that have a hard time coming back from adversity, and me just being a positive guy and keeping good people around me has helped me tremendously, with my mindset. I got a great team here. I surround myself with family, good people that are going to keep me positive and upbeat. And I don't let anything get me down, even after a loss, man. Like the only fight that I felt like I've actually lost was the Anthony Pettis fight, even though I was winning it, but he just hit me in the right spot. And sometimes that's how it goes. I felt I won the Tyron fights. I felt like I won the Till fight, but I really wanted to prove not just to the UFC, but the world that I'm not done yet. And when I faced off against, Vicente Luque at UFC 244, then another striker, because everybody was saying that I'm too old, I don't have a chin anymore, even though I've only been knocked out once, my entire career, people were saying that. It puts a smile on my face to know that I can go out there and still bang it out with the best. And I think that's helped me, my style. I don't take a ton of punishment. So, and I took the ample amount of time off to let everything heal up before I stepped out there with Vicente. But after Vicente, and then I got Jeff Neal, who is the black horse of the division, piecing people up, knocking dudes out. And I go out there and win a unanimous decision against him. It's, I just sticking it to everybody out there who said I was washed up, and I didn't understand it. And of course, I'm still not. I'm 38 years old. I feel like I'm 25, right? I'm still getting better every day, and I'm facing off against the number 2 guy in the division. I go out there and I beat this guy. I'm going to hope they'll give me the title next.
Yeah, as we said, with the Neal fight, the Luque fight, those were 2 wins. And the Pettis fight, how much did it bother you that, as you said, it's 5 seconds. that's what changed the fight. And it's, as you said, every other fight, look back, Darren Till, everybody thought you won. I mean, it basically, the only reason he won was because it was in his backyard. The Woodley fights, those are controversial, which a lot of people thought, some of you thought you won, some thought Woodley won. Those were things. I mean, with the Pettis fight, how tough was that getting over? Because you're looking to going, and it's the loss that every fighter I talk to, it kills them, because like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If I had just looked for this, if I had just avoided this, I would have won this fight here. For you, how tough was it making peace with the Pettis fight, not going, 5 seconds, I should have seen him, do that, bouncing off a cage, throwing it. But God damn it, I didn't see it at the time.
That lasted probably the night of the fight. Me wondering, why didn't I see that coming? Right. Of course, I get back to the back. We had 5 seconds. All I remember of that fight is getting up off the stool after the first round, looking across him, and he's busted up. His nose is bleeding, and me telling myself, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up this round. I'm going to finish him. That's all I remember. I don't remember any of the second round. 5 seconds left. I went back and watched that maybe twice. I went back and watched with my coaches. And then I went back and I actually watched it on the UFC stream. And I think it went viral, me reacting to me, myself getting knocked out, which was hilarious. But that night I'm laid up in the hospital bed. They did the MRIs and CAT scan to make sure everything was good. It was a relief. That's something that I've got close to almost 85 fights, 80 something fights. And I've never been knocked out. And that's always been in the back of my head. Like, is this the time? Is this the time that I get knocked out? Is this going to happen? When you're in the game long enough, you try not to let it happen, but there's just a strong possibility that it is. And after it happened, I realized that I was more relieved than upset, that I know what it feels like now. It wasn't that bad. I literally was fine. I was in the back. I was good. I had a smile on my face, didn't have any headaches, no brain bleeds, no concussions. It was fine. Like, it was like, I would rather get knocked out, right, than get just the crap beat out of me for five minute rounds. Right. So, like, what else can happen to me? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those, like, what else can these guys do? I've been knocked out. I know what it feels like. Now I can just go out there and fight. Right. And I was laying there in the hospital bed. I was like, why did I not see that coming? And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And it was just one mistake against somebody who was at the top of his game, who was the champion at 155, is an experienced fighter. And in this game, you give somebody an inch, they're taking it, right? And that's what happened. I've done that to, how many people have I done that to, right? So it's like, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit there and dwell on it. I'm going to get better, and I'm moving on to the next fight.
If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson here. We're talking all things, of course, Anthony Pettis. We're talking Jeff Neal. We're talking welterweight contender fight against, once again, Gilberto Burns, July 10th, only on pay-per-view. I'm glad you mentioned the hospital thing, because as we've seen with, your brother-in-law, Chris Weidman, this is a brutal sport. And, I'm glad he's okay, but hopefully the leg is healing. How have you avoided to not be him? And I'm not, as I said, I'm not picking on, because he's faced a murderer's row. Rockhold, Romero, Mousasi, Gastelum, Jacare, Dominic Reyes. Those are the 6 fights. And you can tell it's just the wear and tear gets you as a fighter. This is a car crash. You're going into a car crash every time you fight. How have you avoided to not take those beatings and just feel like, oh crap, my body's just not responding? It's screaming at me going, you're crazy. You need to retire. We can't do this here. How have you avoided getting just sort of beaten up too much?
Well, I think that has to do with, with the way I number one, the way I trained. There's a lot of guys out there who train as hard as they fight. They spar as if their life depends on it, and they try and knock each other out. And, I've got great sparring partners here, good teammates that I can get good work in, but not get injured, not risk, somebody falling on my knee, or somebody accidentally headbutting me, or arm barring me too hard. we train very smart here. We keep it light to the head. We don't beat each other up. And I think that's key. And that's where it starts. 2, my style is so different, the in and out movement, the angle changes. I'm not the type of guy to sit there in the pocket and fight like Rocky Soccer Robots, which you see a lot of guys do in this fight game. And that's where you take a lot of wear and tear. I mean, when you have a fighting style, like some of these guys who just sit there in the pocket and they're almost getting knocked out they get knocked out or staggered every fight. That's not the type of fighter that I want to be. I don't like getting hit. I don't know who does. It seems like a lot of these guys out there, especially even at the top of the game, love getting hit because they just sit there in the pocket and just trade blows. And that's not me. I try to fight with a certain finesse, with a certain, movement, that I don't take a lot of punishment, and I have taken punishment. I've had 4 knee surgeries on my left, 2 on my right. I've broken both my hands, broken both my thumbs. But, taking care of my body, spending the time and the money for recovery, which is super important. A lot of guys don't do it. I mean, who was it the other day? It was talking about, LeBron James, how much money he spends on recovery when, Kobe was in his prime. He spent millions of dollars on recovery, and I think that's a big part of it. And, I take the time to get the massages, the ice baths, to get the care to make sure that I'm able to do this for the long haul. Me as a fighter, I want to fight, till the day I die. That's just me as an athlete, the competitiveness in me. Is it smart? No, but that's why I got a good team, good coach. My dad knows me better than my body, better than I know myself. He knows when I'm overtraining. And I'm going to do this as long as my body will let me, or up until when my dad says I'm done. When it gets to the point where my dad says, listen, man, I think you're done. I'm going to take it. I'm going to listen to him and retire and not look back on it. That way I know that I took advantage of every opportunity.
How do you keep the love of this, especially with what you have? And, I've been blessed to talk with Ricardo Lamas, Alan Jubon. They all said after a while, it's like, all right, you get tired of doing this because in not the fighting or the MMA, but just going to the gym every day, having to cut weight, having to spend all this money. And you're also running, for a lot of these guys are running a small business with their gym. You have a YouTube channel that makes some money here. You have a Twitch channel. You have a modeling, with IMG models. There's talk of you doing, movies and TV once you retire. I know, but the UFC loves you so much. You're doing at times, announcing, studio work for them. You don't need the sport. You don't need to go in there and get, your brains beat up, spend time away from your wife or your girlfriend, spend time away from the family here, or your dogs. How do you keep the love of this so you're not just looking going, you know what? It's a hell of a lot easier right now to do the next, let's say, Superman movie or, Guardians of the Galaxy, where I just sit on stage, fight with a little, a guy, a stunt double and, get makeup rather than go into the gym, lose 20 pounds of, muscle that I don't have, or get, rolled, stretched, twisted, have to leave my family. Like, what makes you just love this? And you're going, I still don't want to give it up. I still love this.
There was a point when I was younger. This was in my kickboxing days. I was, I've got a slew of kickboxing fights, and I was early 20s, and I kind of lost my fire for a bit. And I didn't know how to tell my dad that I didn't want to do it, because he's been in my corner, been in my coach, sacrificed time and money to do what I love to do. And I didn't know how to tell him that I didn't want to do it anymore. And something came as a blessing to me. I ended up tearing every ligament in my left leg in one of my fights. And it was a blessing. Like, of course, nobody wants to stop fighting or end on something like that. But, it gave me the time to rekindle that flame. It allowed me to take that time off to get my body healed up, to And it came as a blessing, to be honest with you. I never told my dad that it got to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore, because that happened. And I remember I was out for 3 years, and that was the time where GSP asked me to come and train with him. And in that time off, and in that training with GSP, rekindled that flame, and that flame hasn't left yet. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy the competitiveness. I enjoy the cerebral aspect of the game. I enjoy the trying to figure my partner out, learning to adapt to an opponent mid-fight. And I live this game. I live here at the gym. I'm at the gym right now. Just got done training with Ryan Hall. Some of my guys, they're actually waiting on me right now, but I love this game. I love the people that I meet, the camaraderie in the gym. And not just that, but becoming a better person in doing in it. It's not about, to me, it's not about winning the fight, but, becoming the best that I can be physically, mentally, emotionally. This game is nothing like other. It's nothing like baseball. It's nothing like basketball, right? Now, I don't play those, and maybe they can, maybe they see something different in those sports, but this game puts you in uncomfortable situations. And how you handle those uncomfortable situations lets you know who you are on the inside, right? Everybody thinks that, all right, yeah, in a fight, I'll be able to get out of that, right? Or I'm a tough guy, I can handle that. You think that until you're in that position, until you're in it, and you feel like you're getting ready to die. And when I was in those positions with Tyron Woodley, when he was in that choke, where most people would have tapped, I didn't. And my losses, those losses when I fought Matt Brown, and I was, in uncomfortable situations in those fights, those are the ones that I enjoy the most, because I was in those uncomfortable situations where most people would have tapped. Like I said, I didn't do it. And it lets you know who you are on the inside. And I've learned to fall in love with that. And on top of that, I teach kids classes here every day. I've been doing that since I was in high school. And to be able to go out there in the cage, outside the cage, but, not only win in a good manner, but lose the right way, to set a good example for those kids, that watch me, it makes it all worth it, man. And that's what I love to do. I love it, man. I love this game. And I will still be doing this the day I retire. I'll still be out there working with my guys, training the guys, sparring, rolling. This is my life. I've been doing this since I was 3.
It's ironic that this is going to be UFC 264. It's, as you said before, it's Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. They're the headline. And let's face it, you've had, more success right now than Conor McGregor. He sells tickets. He knows how to trash talk. He knows how to be the big star. He makes the big bucks. Colby Covington will probably get another title shot before you, unfortunately. He knows how to piss people off, whether it's saying I'm banging somebody's girl, whether he's, tweeting out about how this guy's a bum, these guys are filthy animals. We've even seen now in boxing with the Paul brothers, who are making millions of dollars, and yet none of these guys could fight you in a match. None of them, could hold the candle. Does it still bother you that, especially in combat sports, the squeaky wheel gets the oil? The guy who talks trash will get more opportunities. Guys like you, oh, come on, you're boring, Steven. Steven, you have no flavor. You're vanilla. We want spice. We want trash talk. Even the media people love it. Does it bother you sometimes that style is sometimes more important than substance?
To me, it is what it is. I let my fighting do all the talking, right? Yes, some guys have to do the talking, to get looked at. I don't. I've got people come to me, more people come to me and say, what a breath of fresh air seeing you out there fighting, not talking the trash, being a true martial artist. And I've got, 650 kids watching every move that I make and setting a good example, like I said, inside and outside of the octagon. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do any of that trash talk. Yeah, I mean, the UFC is owned by entertainment industry now, entertainment company, IMG, what is it? WMG, I forgot what it's called. But they're owned by an entertainment industry. So of course, now they're looking to see who's making the most noise. You know, I've fought for the title twice. I know that I've had to, you know, fight other people in order to get there again, but I'm right there. You know, let Colby Covington get his next fight. I'm fighting the winner of that fight next, right? I know that, and I see that, and I tell myself, like, hey, I got to go out there and I got to beat Gilbert Burns. I got to do that in a great fashion so that the UFC, the world, the fans realize I deserve that title next. And, you know, the UFC have been listening to fans lately. And I've got a lot of fans saying that I should be fighting for the title after, you know, next. I mean, is Gilbert Burns in my way right now? Sure, let me fight this guy. But I don't want to be the guy to hold back, you know, and not fight anybody because I think I deserve the title shot. No, I want to be the best. In order to do that, I got to beat everybody who's standing in front of me. I got to beat Vicente Luque. I got to beat Jeff Neal. And these guys were ranked significantly, you know, behind me. You know, they were ranked 11, 12, 13. I'm sitting at number 5. I'm number 4 now. Give me somebody in front of me. And they did it. UFC got me the number 2 ranked guy in the division. And after that, you know, I'm fighting for the title. It's happening. So I don't let it get me down, man. I let my fighting style, let the excitement do the talking for me.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, as I said, he'll be fighting co-main event UFC 264 all the way. It's going to be in the T-Mobile Arena. Full crowd now, thank God. I give you once again the Wonder Boy himself. I give you Stephen Thompson. Stephen, before I let you go, where can fans check you out at? Where is a Twitter page, Instagram, a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, your own website, if your own gym? Where can fans check you out at, and even if they want to work out with you?
Man, first off, I want to say, Chris, thanks for having me on, my brother. I really appreciate you, man. And hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. But guys, on Instagram and Twitter, I'm on Wonderboy MMA. Facebook is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, same as the YouTube channel, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm on there with my brother Sweet T. Come check it out. You know, come hit us with a follow. I love the martial arts, man. We're having a good time, man. Enjoying it every minute of it. So I appreciate you having me on, brother. I really do.
Pleasure's all mine. It's an honor to have you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Stephen Thompson here fighting UFC 264. Gilberto Burns only on pay-per-view. Check your time and local listings for details. Stay tuned. We're going to have more great guests coming up once again. Only on It Is Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol. Only on the Blue Wire Hustle Network of the Last Call YouTube channel.